We're going to do the first step in the construction of a confidence interval. So let's look at example 1. We want to find the number z of alpha over 2 needed in construction of a confidence interval. First, when the level of confidence is 90%, and second, when the level of confidence is 99%. All right, so first, for any confidence interval, and we're going to see lots of different confidence intervals in this course, but our first step is always going to be the same when dealing with the confidence level. The first thing we're going to do, so we want a 90% confidence interval. We're always going to take our confidence interval and we're going to turn that 90% into 0.9 and we'll subtract it from 1. And this will always be the first part that we do for any confidence interval, regardless of its size. And then we're going to take the 0.10 that we got and divide it by 2. And that gives us 0.05. So this process is always the same in any confidence interval. We always take our confidence level as a decimal, subtract it from 1, and divide by 2 in any confidence interval. Now, our next step is we're going to look up and find what z of this value is. Okay, so we want the z value that goes along with a probability of 0.05. Now, our z value may change. It might be something that we call a t-value if we have a small sample from a normal distribution. So that's very important. Right now we're dealing with large samples, and when we're dealing with large samples, we're going to look things up using z-values. All right, so let's go to Excel, and we're going to use a command that we've used before, equal norm.s.inv, and we're going to put in the probability of 0.05. And it gives us negative 1.645. I'm going to call it at 3 decimal places. Now, there's actually 2 z values going on there. There's both the negative 1.645 and the positive 1.645. But as we'll see later when doing our confidence interval, in the formula itself, there's a plus and minus sign, which stands for both of these 2 z values. So we don't really have to worry too much about their sign. And be careful when putting it into My Open Math. If there's already a plus minus in front of it, you're only going to want to put in the positive z value, 1.645, because that plus minus is really telling you both signs. All right, now let's go to our second one. The second part of this question asked for the z of alpha over 2 values when the level of confidence is 99%. So let's go back to our document here. We're going to do exactly the same thing. 1 minus 99% as a decimal is 0.99, and that's going to give us 0.01. And then we're going to take 0.01 and divide it by 2, just like we did in the example above, and that gives us 0.005. Now, let's go back to Excel, and we're going to use the same command we did a moment ago and put in the value 0.005 and see what we get for z. So if I go to Excel, equal norm.s.inv 0.005, and we get negative 2.576 if I round off to 3 decimals. All right, so our z of alpha over 2 is negative 2.576 and positive 2.576. Again, when you're entering these into your homework, be careful if that plus and minus is in front. You only want to put the positive value in there because the minus sign is taken into account already.